Chair, firstly, I'd like to thank Deputy Callaghan and his colleagues in the Social Democrats not only for tabling this private member's motion, which we're more than happy to support, but for giving us the opportunity to have this important debate. Now, Minister O'Brien told us a few moments ago that he and his colleagues would move heaven and earth to tackle this crisis. Well, there are actually two things that he won't do. He won't keep the promises that he made in the general election about affordable housing, and he won't meet any of his own targets for the delivery of affordable housing during his tenure as Minister. Let's cast our mind back to the general election of 2020. What was the Fianna Fáil promise on affordable housing during that campaign? It was for 10,000 genuinely affordable homes to be delivered on the O'Coulon model every year for 5 years. 50,000 homes at prices below €250,000 each. Only a matter of weeks in government, and that promise was quietly shelved and quietly forgotten about. Darragh O'Brien also inherited Eoin Murphy's much-trumpeted Service Sites Fund. There was a promise in Budget 2019 to deliver 6,000 affordable homes with €300 million over that period. In fact, so great was this idea, Darragh O'Brien, as opposition spokesperson under Conference of Supply, claimed that it was his idea and he negotiated it. When Eoin Murphy was Minister, for 2 of those 3 years, how many of those homes were delivered? 0. And in the first year that Darragh O'Brien was Minister under that scheme, not a single affordable home was delivered. 3 years into the scheme, more money unspent. And then in Budget 2021, Darragh O'Brien promised the cost rental equity loan. He said there was enough funding for 750 cost rental units in that year. How many were provided? The first of Darragh O'Brien's own schemes, first full year in government, only 75. 750 was never enough in the first place, but to only deliver a paltry 75 speaks volumes. And then after, of course, much delay, Darragh O'Brien finally got round to publishing his housing plan. Of course, he never had any policy when he was in opposition. He didn't even have it in his first year or more in government. But when he eventually published a housing plan, he promised 4,000 plus affordable homes in 2022 and 5,000 affordable homes this year. And how many of those homes have been delivered? Because Minister O'Brien trotted out an awful lot of figures. What he didn't actually talk about is the one thing that he directly controls and that is crucially important, his own direct delivery of affordable homes. Well, last year, of the 4,000 promised affordable homes, just 1,000 or more were delivered. 323 affordable purchase homes and 684 cost rental. Only a quarter of what you promised, Minister. And this year, because of course the government's housing plan is working wonderfully, apparently. They're moving heaven and earth and doing everything in their power. So how many of the 5,000 affordable homes have been delivered this year? Well, the problem is we don't know because the Minister won't tell us. He's meant to produce a quarterly report detailing social and affordable housing delivery at the end of each quarter. He's held a press conference at the end of each quarter. He's published very, very glossy documents. What's the figure that's missing from those documents? The one figure the Minister is responsible for, direct delivery of affordable homes. And the Minister knows that his department got the verified figures after Q1 for social and affordable housing, and he chose not to publish them because they were so low. The big question is, when the Minister got the verified figures for Q2, why has he not published them? Maybe he's looking on his phone at the minute to see if he's got an email from his officials to say he can release the figures. They're in the department, they're waiting to be published, and we want to know why the delay. Now, I don't know the delay. But maybe it's the cynic in me that thinks it's because the figures are so way off target that the Minister isn't publishing it. And if I'm wrong, feel free to heckle me, give me the correct figures and put the information on the record. And then we have this deeply dishonest claim that €4 billion of public money has been spent every year on social and affordable housing. It's not, Minister, and you know. We know that was what the promise was in 2022 and 2023, but you've underspent, the LDA is underspent, and because of your departmental and governmental failures, the approved housing bodies haven't been able to spend the money. So in fact, you should really come clean and tell us how much has actually been spent, not what you're promising. Now, of course, when confronted with all of this failure, and it is a catalogue of failure, the Minister responds in typical fashion. He extols the virtues of the so-called Help to Buy, a scheme that pushes up house prices, and 40% of the money went to people who didn't need it. I'm not criticising them, I'm criticising the design of the scheme. Over €200 million of public money went to assist people to buy homes when they already had a full deposit and a mortgage. That's money that could have significantly reduced the number of people in emergency accommodation presently. He extols the virtues of the shared equity loan. Now, apart from the fact that it does push up house prices and that it does saddle working people with ever greater levels of debt, we were told 1,800 mortgages would be assisted last year. There were none. What's the target for this year? 1,800 to 2,000. It's going to miss its targets. It's a badly designed scheme, and even that doesn't work. And the reality is, even if you look at your Croí Town scheme, badly designed, delayed, and will have virtually no impact on tackling vacancy and dereliction. And the Minister smiles, but I have to say our proposal to bring 4,000 vacants and derelicts back into use, including allowing people to have access to a grant, is far, far better than your paltry, unsuccessful and badly designed scheme. So where are we at after 3 years of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael in government together and Darragh O'Brien as Minister? House prices have never been higher. Why? Because of your failure to deliver social and affordable homes and because of your inflationary policies. And that's why it's time for change. That's why I enthusiastically support the motion in front of us today. We will outline again, in great detail, in our alternative housing budget, how you can deliver 20,000 public homes a year, including 8,000 affordable homes in the first year, but absolutely moving to 10,000 plus in years 2, 3 and 4. And until the government accepts that is the scale of ambition that is required, and until you invest the funds, cut back the red tape and empower our local authorities and approved housing bodies to deliver the homes that you promised in the general election in 2020, this crisis is going to get worse, which is why I support the motion. I support time for change, and I have to say, Minister, the sooner Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael are out of power, the better for all those in acute housing need.